I think President Trump, yet again, was ahead of the curve when he created the Space Force in his first administration. People said we didn't need it. We are relying on it every single day now to ensure, alongside the Space Force and private enterprise.
This threat is not classified. Russia's threat of deploying an an anti-satellite nuclear weapon in space is not classified. Obviously, this is a priority to the Department of Defense, and I just want your confirmation that this is a priority that you're tracking, and you too see that as a threat to the United States, and certainly to the United States and our space. The Secretary General of NATO has recently made statements of his concern of Russia's future attempt to place an anti-satellite nuclear weapon into space. Specifically, he has said, "We are aware of reports that Russia is examining the possibility of placing nuclear weapons in space. This is very worrying. Space is also very important for our deterrence and defense, just as important as land, sea, air, and cyberspace. In recent years, space has become increasingly clouded, dangerous, and unpredictable. We know that competition in space is fierce." I recently had the opportunity to speak to him. He was at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in my community as we were commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Peace Accords. His concern was that this is not getting worldwide enough of attention. We had General Saltzman recently in front of the committee. He has characterized that if Russia were to place an anti-satellite nuclear weapon into space, that would be day zero, that if that was put in space, that next day, that it would be irresponsible for us to count on space, that we would have to spend trillions of dollars and seek technology that we don't have to find solutions as an alternative to space, both commercially, for military, in really to redo what is really society today. As you know, it would affect both our nuclear deterrence, our efforts for missile defense, even our investments in Golden Dome. In this venue, obviously, we can't discuss all of the details of what we're doing, but I would ask if you would please confirm that this is a threat that is a priority to the Department of Defense, as it has been characterized by the Secretary General of NATO, and acknowledge that as it is a priority for us to prevent the deployment of nuclear weapons in space, and that it is a priority for us to work with our allies to uphold our commitment to the Outer Space Nuclear Treaty that prohibits the deployment of nuclear weapons in space. Sir.
Well, thank you for the question, sir. As you alluded to, there are a number of aspects to this question or answer that can't be discussed here, but I would underline our complete commitment to the space domain, to the hardening of the space domain, to prevention of escalations in the space domain, but most importantly, to the dominance of the space domain. I mean, that is, it is the future of how we see, it's the future of how we sense, it could be the future of how our adversaries fight and how we deal with that. So I think President Trump, yet again, was ahead of the curve when he created the Space Force in his first administration. People said we didn't need it. We are relying on it every single day now to ensure, alongside the Space Force and private enterprise, that we're delivering the capabilities we need that are resilient, that are redundant, that are capable of all aspects of all domain warfare, if necessary. And preventing adversaries from gaining an advantage is a huge part of how we look at space.
This threat is not classified. Russia's threat of deploying an anti-satellite nuclear weapon in space is not classified. Obviously, this is a priority to the Department of Defense, and I just want your confirmation that this is a priority that you're tracking, and you too see that as a threat to the United States, and certainly to the United States and our space infrastructure, and certainly our whole national security infrastructure.
We track all potential escalations, yes, sir.
Okay. And while you're here, I just want to help you out because people try to twist your words. You are not confirming in your testimony today that at the Pentagon there are plans for invading or taking by force Greenland, correct? That is not your testimony today.
All my testimony is that the Pentagon has plans for any number of contingencies.
It is not your testimony today that there are plans at the Pentagon for taking by force or invading Greenland, correct? Because I'm sure as hell hope that it is not your testimony.
We look forward to working with Greenland to ensure that it is secured from any potential threats.
House Intelligence Chairman Mike Turner did not mince words during a high-stakes House Armed Services Committee hearing, moving from an existential space threat to aggressive damage control in a matter of minutes. The hearing initially focused on a terrifying national security reality as Turner pushed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to address Russia's highly dangerous push to deploy a nuclear weapon into space. Citing deep concerns raised by the Secretary General of NATO, Turner laid out a devastating scenario originally detailed by Space Force Chief General B. Chan Saltzman. The warning was clear. If Russia successfully positions an anti-satellite nuclear weapon in orbit, it would completely upend modern society, blinding military communications, wiping out commercial infrastructure, and requiring trillions of dollars to rebuild fallback systems from scratch. Hegseth explicitly validated these concerns, pointing out that space is now just as critical to multi-domain warfare as land, sea, air, and cyberspace, while praising the strategic foresight of creating the Space Force to combat these exact escalations. But just as the hearing reached a peak of strategic tension, it took a sharp, highly unexpected turn into a diplomatic minefield. Following an intense round of questioning from committee Democrats regarding whether the Pentagon had drafted actual operational contingencies to seize Greenland by force, Hegseth had landed himself in hot water by repeatedly stating that the Pentagon builds plans for any and all contingencies. Sensing a massive public relations and diplomatic disaster in the making, Turner stepped in as a legal and political lifeline. Declaring lawyer here, I just want to help you out. Turner openly intercepted the line of questioning to prevent political opponents from twisting the secretary's words into an admission of an impending invasion of sovereign Danish territory. Turner forcefully double-tapped the issue, directly demanding that Hegseth confirm under oath that the Pentagon is not actively planning a hostile takeover or military occupation of Greenland. The intervention created a striking moment of televised damage control on Capitol Hill, forcing a rapid correction of the record as Hegseth pivoted to state that the United States looks forward to cooperating peacefully to secure the Arctic region from outside threats rather than invading it. Following this chaotic exchange, the real-world fallout was immediate and intense. Greenland's official representative to the United States issued a flat, public rejection of any territorial ambitions during an emergency forum in Washington, explicitly declaring that Greenland is absolutely not for sale. Despite the Pentagon's attempts to brush the comments off as standard, routine planning for global contingencies, the hearing has sparked fierce diplomatic friction with Denmark and our closest Arctic allies. Meanwhile, defense analysts warn that this public infighting is severely distracting from the urgent, unclassified threat of Russia's orbital weapons programs, which the Pentagon confirms could render low Earth orbit completely unusable for an entire year if detonated. Turner's swift maneuvers successfully pulled the defense chief off highly defensive terrain, but the exchange left a lasting impact, highlighting the underlying tensions surrounding an increasingly unpredictable American foreign policy.